Hello, this is Restoration with Pastor Dennis Martin. I'm grateful that you joined me on today. I know that it's going to be a blessing to you as we share with you today. And I want you to do me a favor. I want you to share this video with your followers today, with someone today, tag them, forward it to them, whatever you've got to do to make sure that they get this today, because it's going to bless somebody on today. You know, I'm going to be sharing today from the subject, are you ready? That's a question. Are you ready? In this day, we've got so many that are seeking promotions and elevations, and those that are passionate about what they believe they should be doing. And I'm not just dealing with church, but also in the workplace or wherever it might be, and their desires and their dreams and those things that they want to do. And the question really should be asked is, are you ready for it? Are you ready for this? Are you really ready for it? You know, many times we want things and we think we're ready. We think that we are really mature and ready for them, and sometimes we're not. And so my question today is, are you ready? And I've got about 4 questions I'm going to ask you. And if you can answer yes to many of these questions, possibly you are ready. If you answer no to all of them, I'm going to tell you maybe you need to just step back and take another look at the thing that you think you want, the thing that you are being offered. Sometimes people can offer us stuff and promotions and different things, and we think, oh, that's good. I know I can handle it, until things begin to happen. And so you got to ask yourself, you see, every promotion and things may not come from God. It may just come from someone that likes us, that think we can do the job. And so I want to ask you today 4 questions that I believe will help us to establish a fact whether or not we are ready. Question number 1 is, are you ready for the pressure of your promotion, the pressure of your elevation, the pressure of what has been offered to you? You know, a lot of times we look at things and we don't see the pressure that comes with what we're offered or with what's going on. There's a pressure that comes with things, and sometimes we don't really see the pressure of those things and understand that there is a pressure that goes with it. And many times we look from the outside and look in. And while we're looking from the outside in, we don't see the other things that's going on inside, which could be pressure. And so you have to ask yourself, am I ready for the pressure of this promotion? Am I ready for the pressure of being the boss? Am I ready for the pressure of being the foreman? Am I ready for the pressure of handling this situation? Sometimes we are ready. Then the other times we're not ready because we didn't know that much pressure came with it. Sometimes looking at the seat and criticizing the seat and saying, I would do something different if I had that position. And then getting in the seat, it takes on a different view from what you were looking at when you were looking from the outside. So number 1, ask yourself, am I ready to deal with the pressure of this promotion or this elevation? Number 2, are you ready for criticism? Are you ready to be criticized? Because now you're going to make some decisions and choices and maybe do some things that you feel are in the best interest of what's going on and being yourself. And you're going to have those that will criticize you. You're going to have those that will criticize you just because they can. Then you're going to have those that have constructive criticism. And you've got to be able to discern between criticism and constructive criticism, because sometimes, we'll get defensive when people are even trying to help us, because sometimes people, again, I say they criticize just because they can, and they will criticize you and just, everything you do, nothing is right, everything's wrong. But then there are others that see where there can be improvement. They see where there's room for improvement. So when they say something to you, even though it may sound like criticism, it's constructive, and they're just trying to say to you, if you do it this way, have you thought about doing it this way? Or if you do it this way, things will work out better. And so we have to be able to discern between the two and understand that it comes with the job. If you're going to be in charge, if you're going to be promoted, if you're going to get this, criticism, constructive criticism will be a part. So you got to ask yourself, am I ready to deal with criticism and not be defensive and launch out at people because they are being critical? Number 3, are you ready for betrayal? Are you ready to be betrayed? Are you ready for people that you thought were with you, people that you thought were happy for you, people that you thought had your back, people that you thought would be with you to the end? Are you ready for betrayal? Because you're going to get it. Somebody's going to betray you. It's like on your job when you were going out with the coworkers. While you were out with the coworkers, remember, y'all went to lunch together. Y'all took extra 15 minutes. But now you've been elevated. Now you've got the foreman position, or you've got the group person that's in charge. So what happens now is that you're looking at a situation where you got to say something to them. They can no longer take those breaks, or y'all used to take them together, and now you are in charge. And the people that you thought were happy for you, now you find out they're not as happy as you thought they were. So they betray you. So you got to ask yourself, am I ready for that? Is that something I can handle? Is it something I can handle without, again, lashing out at people and going on the defense and getting up and saying stuff over a mic, or getting up and saying stuff in a meeting, or getting up and saying stuff when we're having meetings? Can I handle that? Because it happens. It will happen. I'm talking about church. I'm talking about in the workplace, wherever it may be, it's going to happen. So you got to ask yourself, can I handle betrayal? Then the last question I want to ask you is this: are you ready for the sacrifice that it takes with your promotion? You know, many times we look at things and we think because everyone else makes it look easy, that it's easy. But you've got to understand there's sacrifices that have to be made with promotions and positions and things that come, and that's whether it's on the job or wherever. There's sacrifices that have to be made. And when you have to make these sacrifices, you got to make sure that you are willing and ready to put yourself in, to plunge in 100%. Sometimes it takes more than 100%. It takes 110, 120. Sometimes it takes even more than that, because now you're making the sacrifice because you got to make it work. You're trying to make it work. And so you got to ask yourself, when I get into this, am I really willing to make the sacrifice? Because sometimes you got to make a sacrifice that may take you away from other things, the things that you may like to do, some other things that you thought you were going to do. It takes you away from that because it takes sacrifices. Now you got to be in places that you would normally be. You got to be at things you would normally attend. And, it takes sacrifice. You got to put long hours into some things. Now you've got to delegate authority and do some other things. But it's sacrifice. Sometimes now you got to be on call and not just when you want to be on call. It takes sacrifice. And so you got to ask yourself, am I ready for the sacrifice that it takes that goes with my promotion and with what I have desired to have? Now I must make a sacrifice. You know, there was a commercial that used to come on about cheese, and I can't remember which cheese company it was, but in this commercial, they would talk to the cheese to find out had it matured enough to be ready to be put on display. And when they would talk to the cheese would say something crazy, and the guy would say, "Oh, you're not ready yet. You got to go back." And he would do that several times. And finally, he got to talk to the cheese. And when he talked to the cheese said something so mature, he checked it and said, "Now you're ready for display." You know, many times people are promoted that have not matured yet. And what happens in the promotion is whatever they were promoted to suffers because they were not mature. This is why we must ask ourselves, am I ready for this promotion, for this elevation? Am I mature enough to handle things? Because now you go into another level and you've got to be able to handle stuff better than when you handle it on the other level you were on. And so if you answered yes to most of these questions, then you're probably ready. If you answered no, then step back and say to yourself, you know what? I think I need to just look at this again, because I don't want to get anything and be in any position in the church, on my job, anywhere that I'm not ready for and I'm not mature enough to handle. I've got grandbabies. I've got grandchildren. One is 4, one is 2. And there's certain conversations we can have and they're mature enough to handle them. Then there's certain conversations we can't have because they're not mature enough. And I don't care how much they like to get behind the wheel of a car, they will never drive me at this age to the store because they're not mature enough to handle driving. And so I want to say to you, and I want you to understand it, if you're not ready, don't worry about it. Don't let people push you into things that you're not ready for. Pray and ask God to help you get ready. Keep working, keep developing. And when your time is right and when you have matured enough, then you can say, I am ready. I pray that this has blessed you. If it has, leave me a comment, share this with somebody, tag somebody in it, like it. And then I want you to follow me on Twitter. I have that information here. It's on the screen. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me here on Facebook. Follow me on YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram. I want to share with you from my life experiences, and I know that it'll be a blessing to you and to those that you will share it with. If you want to contact me, you can contact me at rrcdmartin@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you, or inbox me here, right here. I would love to hear from you. Well, until the next video, until our next time of sharing, may God bless you and may all God's best be yours.